Attention, all queens, kings, food enjoyers, and travelers. If you are looking for a podcast that has some laughs with a snarky and stylish host, we cover anything here from politics to news, review of places, food, and hotels. I may make snarky diss tracks about people every now and again. So tune in, watch as we take flight, and go on the air.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, kings, and queens. This is our first episode, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I have a great episode planned for you tonight. Welcome. This is Corvus Crotiques with your one and only host, Corvus the Crow. Let's get started, shall we? We turn our attention towards a small boxing gym on North Zarzamora Street. It was a mostly booming and thriving gym, described by many onlookers and boxers alike as a legendary gym with family-esque vibes. This gym was a family's legacy. This family was no other than the Ayelas, a name that would soon etch itself on Zarzamora Street and San Antonio forever. This gym was a dream of one person, Tony Ayala Sr., It was a dream of what he could do for the world, and he had his family at his side. At first, everything seemed like it was going well. They were building an empire, a boxing empire. But as time passed, more and more cracks started to show in this larger-than-life gym. The Ayelas didn't just own a boxing gym. They were boxing champions. Legends, even. They have fought numerous opponents on stage, earning their status as champion boxers. Unfortunately, those gloves did not come off even while being out of the ring. Quickly, tensions between Tony's four sons started to manifest, and it took a dark turn. An argument between Tony Jr. and Paulie started, and it quickly turned into a full-on fist fight, where Tony Jr. would knock out his own brother with just one punch. This punch would be something that Tony Jr. would gloat about for the rest of his life. Sometime before this fight, Tony Ayala Jr., or also known as his moniker El Torito, would be arrested for breaking in a young woman's home and robbing her on New Year's Eve. Shortly after, he defiled her. This landed him 15 to 30 years behind bars, though he only served 15 of those years after achieving parole. Meanwhile, at the gym, Paulie was helping his father, Tony Sr., train boxers, and he was at the gym very frequently. When Tony Jr. finally got out of prison, that's when the fight happened. Paulie saw himself as the rightful owner to their family's gym. The eldest brother's comments about Paulie called his right to the gym invalid and absurd. On May 12th of 2015, Tony Jr. was found dead in his own gym from a heroin overdose. His common-law wife, Jenna Lewis, gained ownership of the gym. The gym closed its doors shortly afterwards, never seeing the following year. It remained closed for a while, but it was finally bought, and it was declared to be a historical building, and it must not be modified from the outside at all. While not being a boxing gym, it's still there today, being a literal shell around what is now a gay sauna. It is a nice location despite being in a bad area of town. It has a nice atmosphere, and the lights do add to the overall mood. Unfortunately, the aesthetic of this minimally adds any comfort to the place. Unfortunately, the older clients many of the times come off as creepy and get a little handsy without your permission at some points. Although it's nothing serious from what I've experienced, the overall place lacks comfort for that reason. The staff are very friendly, maybe too friendly at certain points. If you know, you know. The place is clean, albeit questionably. All around, I'd score it at 5.3 out of 10. Before reviewing any more of the gay scene in San Antonio, I'd like to go over some of the history of Pride in San Antonio. Our story starts with a woman named Lolly Johnson, a seasoned entrepreneur who was a fierce advocate for other queer women. She started bars and nightclubs, the Zoo Club, Faces, Hypothesis being amongst them. Lolly's bars and clubs were monumental in the lesbian community. She had a drag queen named Jimmy James, who would dress up like Marilyn Monroe, and she later made an appearance on the Geraldo River Show in 1989. Lolly was a pivotal figure in the gay community, participating in the San Antonio AIDS Foundation, the Alamo Human Rights Committee, and other LGBTQ social advocacy work. The ripple of what she did in San Antonio can even be felt with one sentence, echoing like ripples on water. We are here, and we are here to stay. Our next review will be of a restaurant called Acachula. Acachula is a Hispanic-owned family restaurant owned by a military veteran. It is a merge of American-Mexican cuisine with unique ideas for their cuisine that comes out to great entrees. They have a great beer and wings combo or a beer and a burger combo that will only be $15. They also have vegetarian entrees that are just as good as the food that do have meat. I am a huge fan of their chips and queso, and they have the second best queso that I've ever tasted in my life. They have a great clientele and frequent drag brunches and drag performances. They have a great atmosphere that is a great meetup spot for any type of occasion. They have a nice LGBTQ friendly flair. It is comfortable from the bar stools to the chairs, and you feel very comfortable about hanging out with the other patrons there. They have a very friendly and personable staff. Their food is downright delicious, although it is fairly pricey. Clean for the most part, despite sometimes having to share the bathroom with a mosquito. It gets an overall score of 7.4 out of 10. My next review is of something removed from the gay scene. It is of a food truck called Little Jamaica on Wheels. If you're ever homesick and away from your family, this humble food truck will bring a smile to your face almost indefinitely. They have a cool atmosphere with lights adorned around their food truck, and they have Jamaican music playing. The cultural atmosphere makes you very comfortable, as well as the friendly and warm staff. The staff here will even treat you as if you were their family. Those mixes of spices and the freshly made food that comes up nice and piping hot will make you want more. The food truck is immaculately clean. I give this food truck a score of 9.4 out of 10. It may be the highest score that I'll ever give. Every single time I have left for the food truck, no matter what kind of day I was having, I leave with a smile on my face. The next review will be a motel called the Econo Lodge Inn and Suites downtown. It has a casual atmosphere, suitable comfort, and a professional staff. Unfortunately, it is in a little bit more of a troublesome area downtown. Fair pricing for being a motel. Cleanliness is decent, but unfortunately nothing above that. I'd give the Econo Lodge downtown a score of 5.6 out of 10. At this point of the podcast, we will be focusing on some cool science news. Do you remember the awe that you watch in watching Game of Thrones and seeing the dire wolf? Can you imagine seeing one in real life? Oh yes, they were real. Or rather, they are real. Colossal Bioscience have sequenced the genes of the dire wolf and put them into the genes of a gray wolf using CRISPR, a method to alter genes. They did this by editing 20 genes in modern-day wolves. Some critics are eager to question if they are the exact same thing as the extinct animal. I'd argue even if you sequence an exact copy of the extinct dire wolves, are they the same as the actual extinct animal, or are they entirely a man-made species? It relates to the concept of Theseus's ship. How much of something can you replace of the original thing before it becomes something entirely different? Setting our eyes on the stars, we are witnessing a distant object giving off both X-rays and radio waves every 44 minutes. The current prevailing theory are that it could be a neutron star or a remnant of a supernova. Time will tell if we could get to the bottom of this strange occurrence. So for some news and tech, Google has come up with an AI software called Google Flow TV that has the potential to become the best image and video making software currently around. It will contain 3 AIs all working together to make a single video that can last forever, just based off of text prompts. So far, the videos look a lot better than some of the things currently available. I am eager to see what will happen with all of this. As our final segment, we have political news to talk about, starting with the reappeal of the unenforced 1973 law that criminalizes relations with the same sex. Federally, this law has been taken off the books after the 2003 case of Lawrence versus Texas, although it did remain on the state law books until Friday, the 16th of May, where it was repealed. 59 voted in favor of the repeal, and 55 voted against the repeal. It will now go to Senate, where it will be voted on June 2nd. Representative Venton Jones of the Texas House was a key player in this repeal. This repeal has a trajectory to be a bipartisan decision, and the goal is to abolish the dead 1973 law so society does not go backwards. This has been the first episode of Corvus Critiques. I hope that you all enjoyed. Remember to use my links if you want to stay connected, and if you want to show me some support. Thank you. This has been Corvus Critiques. Hosted by your one and only host, Corvus the Crow.
Now it's time to get off the air and land, on a branch preferably, and a soft landing at that. So tune in our next episode. I will see you all there. Corvus out.